Hello, St. Thomas doctoral students. My name is Forrest Jackson, and I'm coming to you tonight via video for discussion 4, ethical decision making. I got a couple of references I'll share with you to start with. First one comes from CBS News 60 Minutes. I got another one from the New York Times, businessinsider.com, and from both of our textbooks written by Child and McDonald. So, funny story, can't make this stuff up. I was actually walking by the family room the other night and my wife was watching 60 Minutes, and something happened to catch my ear and caught my eye because I heard about this story that she was watching. So I said, hey, can you back that up? I'd like to, I got an idea. I think I might be able to use this for my next discussion. So the story was Nora O'Donnell. She was doing an expose on the entrepreneur Elizabeth Holmes, who built a billion-dollar business in the Silicon Valley called Theranos. I hadn't heard about it. I hadn't really paid attention to the news over the last 6 months, but Holmes was considered the youngest self-made billionaire in the world. She became an overnight success, celebrity, gained a whole lot of support to include people with names of the likes of Bill Clinton, Henry Kissinger, George Shultz, Tim Draper, even the Walton family, as well as Rupert Murdoch. Some even touted her as the new Steve Jobs, which happens to be one of her idols. So here's how she made her money, and here's how she started Theranos. She claimed to revolutionize the way blood sampling and blood testing was formed, being able to detect HIV and diabetes and 1,000 other different ways to analyze blood samples just with a single pen prick, as opposed to drawing vials of blood. Just a few drops of blood that they were going to put into this miniature blood analyzer called the Edison. The problem is they couldn't do that. She figured out shortly into her endeavors that the claims that she made they were not able to come true. So in order to keep the money coming in, she set up fake demonstrations so that when investors came in, they would pretend like they were demonstrating, and they got this miraculous response or outcome for the blood drops. And her presentation was so powerful that she even got Walgreens to buy into this and set up shop with them. So here's the scam. One of her former employees, a guy named Dr. Matchy, states in this interview is that there was so much pressure from above, from the FDA, or to pass the FDA guidelines, that people were pressured into making bad results disappear. So in 2016, the FDA and the SEC launched a full-scale investigation. In March of this year, Holmes was charged with fraud by the SEC. In June, the Justice Department announced a federal grand jury and indicted Holmes. And earlier this month, Theranos was announced as closing their doors, and she walked away. Still, criminal charges are faced, and the criminal charges are faced because of her lack of ethical leadership of her company. In our book, Childs discusses ways to develop what's called an ethical culture in corporations, especially in new startup corporations. One of the things that Childs recommends is a reduction in the hierarchical distance between the top and bottom levels of the organization, in other words, the working class. He calls it, quote, devolving decision-making down the organization, and what's that designed to do is to reduce the distance between the employee and upper-level management. Child further discussed ways to improve employee voice and accountability, and that is information flow and to increase transparency, of which exactly Holmes was not doing. This prevents senior management from hiding results, like she was hiding test results, lying to investors, and so many things that she was able to finagle. The Business Insider reported that Holmes was extremely tight-fisted, keeping information close to the vest, and even implemented security measures designed to thwart employees from gaining unnecessary access or changing results, as well as she didn't want any of her information getting out of the building or sneaking out. Another area that child addresses is the failure of corporate social responsibility, not just to the employees, but to the customers and members of the communities. The reason that's so important is since none of the tests that they were doing were accurate and often even fabricated, this guy, Dr. Matthews, a biochemist, claimed that there were significant failures in the blood test. There's another former employee. Her name was Erica Chung. She's a graduate from UC Berkeley with a degree in molecular and cellular biology, and she said that the patient's tests were so inaccurate that it actually could have had an impact on either the care or their future health. And she also decided to terminate her employment there. So how could all this have been prevented? McDonald 2015 cites 4 basic components of a properly run and properly managed ethical organization. Number 1 talks about a written code of conduct. Number 2, appropriate ethics training at every level. And then what they call, or what McDonald calls, ethical advice lines. In doing so, you have a system in place for confidential reporting. Furthermore, McDonald talks about having a general promotion of ethics from the organizational leader. And in doing so, you have mission statements, organizational values. You have a set of ethics that are pre-established. You have leadership modeling proper ethical behavior. You have clear and accessible policies and procedures, which is exactly what Holmes was very good at doing, and that was hiding those procedures and hiding the actual results. Having consistency between codes of conduct, the operational policies and procedures, and then also having a long-term or strategic, very specific ethical strategies from the top down. So I hope you found this interesting. I got several references I'm going to share when I connect this to the web. I'll also post the 60 Minutes Overdrive episode. That is easier to watch. You can go watch that. I'm going to post both the full episode as well as the overdrive that shares a lot of information. So hope you like it. Hey, have a great night.